What I'm going to do is talk through 5 things that cause a person to gain weight outside the really obvious things. And these are things that I've learned from my own experience as someone who's obese, as well as a coach over the last 10 years coaching hundreds of people. What's going on YouTube, it's Jason, and in this video we are going to be discussing a really alarming article. The BBC published an article today showing that 50% of us are going to be overweight or obese by 2050. Now, this is a topic for me that's always close to home, because for the first 13 years of my life, I was overweight. And for the last 3 years of that, I was obese. And hear me out, it's not like being obese today where your average colleague or person you see on the street is also overweight. Back then in the UK, the early 2000s, I stood out like a sore thumb. Everybody was either slim, normal, or in shape. And there I was, being the biggest guy in class or being the biggest kid most places I went. It was very, very awkward. Fast forward 20 years, almost everybody who's ever called me fat is now overweight themselves. And when you go on the streets, pretty much anywhere you go, 1 in 3 people are overweight or obese. We have a real problem on our hands, and everyone is discussing how did we get here and what can we do to solve this problem. And it seems like most people are talking about the wrong things, or at least tackling it from the wrong angle. What I'm going to do is talk through 5 things that cause a person to gain weight outside the really obvious things. And these are things that I've learned from my own experience as someone who's obese, as well as a coach over the last 10 years coaching hundreds of people. Number 1 is a person's mindset. I cannot stress this enough. A person is overweight in their mind first. It's how they think about things like training and exercise, the excuses they make or don't make, the shortcuts they take, and the diets they try. The impatience, all of this contributes to them gaining weight. When you meet someone that's in shape, the discipline, the way they think, the focus, the way they set their priorities, that's what keeps them in shape and puts them in a position to actually reach their goal. If you don't understand this, what you will do is throw things at people like Wegovy and Ozempic, or maybe even keto. They'll try that diet, they'll lose weight short term, and I guarantee if they don't fix their mindset, they'll regain all of that weight back and more. Number 2 is how a person deals with their problems. We live in a world where we recognize when someone has a drink or a drug problem. We say that person is struggling, they're addicted, they need rehab. When we look at someone who is obese or overweight, a lot of people don't make the link that that person, in most cases, is using food the same way other people use drugs or drink. i.e., when they go through a difficult time, maybe at work, maybe their partner leaves them or they lose their loved one, they will then go to their ice cream or their pizza to comfort them. And over the years, I recognize that this actually stems from childhood. If you think back, whenever you were poorly or you were upset or you did something good, mum or dad would give you a treat to reward you or make you feel better. What we do, being unaware of this, is that we take it into adulthood. And so when someone has a tough week at work or is going through a difficult time, they use food to comfort themselves, almost like a therapist. The issue is that the more you do this, the more dependent you become on using food as a pick-me-up, and over time, you can get addicted. Yes, I said addicted. There was a study done by Connecticut College that analyzed the brain activity of rats when you fed them an Oreo versus cocaine. Believe it or not, there was more activity, or I think similar activity, in the rat's brain when they consume the Oreo versus cocaine. So what you tend to find is that people first use food as a therapist and it becomes their go-to anytime they feel low. Obviously with that will come the weight gain because they don't have the control and they're overeating, but after a while that person becomes hooked on the feeling that food or alcohol give them when they are low. And one thing I found out as a coach over the years is that after a while, this person starts to literally abuse food. Like they don't even enjoy what they're doing. When they're having a binge or a blowout, It's not like they're hungry and they're looking for flavors and palatable food. They're just looking to achieve a certain feeling and stuff their face. And usually at that point is when it spirals out of control. Number 3 is a lack of discipline or selective discipline. What I've seen over the last 10 years as a coach is that when a person is overweight, they either lack discipline altogether, like they have no structure to their lives, they can't stick to things, or like me, they are an all or nothing character. So when they're on, they are brilliant, they're really good. They might be smashing their career or smashing their business, but in another area, they completely unravel. Like if they're not interested in something else, they won't even give 1% to it. They'll just leave it alone completely, and this will start to unravel again and lead to further and further weight gain. Number 4 might trigger some people, but I've seen it as a truth over the last 10 years, but health is not a priority for that person. The reason I say this is because we seem to find all of these reasons as to why a person can't eat well and look after themselves. Healthy food is too expensive, gym memberships are too expensive, a person has kids, they haven't got time to train, a person is busy with work, they haven't got time to train. But to be frank, we're not dealing with people who have health at the top of their list of priorities and then run into these problems. For most of these people, they will be using their money on other things, maybe holidays, maybe lifestyle, or using their time on other things. Most people these days, for example, spend 2 to 3 hours scrolling per day. So yes, you may be busy at work, yes, you may have kids, but if you're spending 3 hours per day scrolling and you run out of time, then it's just that scrolling was more of a priority for you. So I find that when someone is in shape versus someone is potentially overweight or out of shape, often health is not number 1 on their list of priorities. And the final reason is taking ownership. Over the years, one thing I've learned is that people that are in shape take ownership and responsibility for outcomes. A lot of people that are overweight blame the world and their dog for being overweight. And I'm saying this as someone that's worked with hundreds of people that do that, and also me myself when I was overweight. My sister was always slim growing up and still is slim, to be honest. I was overweight and I used to think that I've got the fat gene. How come when I eat a chip or whatever it is, I gain weight, and my sister eats 10 chips and doesn't gain any weight? Now, it's all well and good looking for all these reasons and excuses, but at the end of the day, what hit me like a hole in the head and really got my attention was the fact that this weight is mine and no one else's. Regardless of who I blame or what I blame, it's my weight. Like, I can sit there all day and make excuses about this and that, but when I go to bed at night, it's my body, it's my weight. And if I don't do anything about it, nothing is going to change. So these are the 5 things that I see as the main problems as to why a person is overweight. Obviously within that you have health conditions, hormones, life situations, financial issues. All of these things are factors that do play a part in the overall weight gain picture. But the 5 things I've listed are that important that if people address those things, they will probably find that they get to their goal or lose a significant amount of weight without even addressing all the other things they're talking about. So it's not necessarily an either or, but it's more of a magnitude thing. And if these things aren't addressed at a high level by government, then this number of 50% of us being overweight and obese will probably just grow and grow over the years. If you're someone that's been trying to lose weight for a long time, or you've been out of shape for a long time, and you've kind of settled into this place of normality where you just accept things as they are. Maybe I'm just meant to have a dad bod. I've always been a little bit bigger than normal people. And in 2025, you'd actually like to make a change your mindset, develop a healthy relationship with food, get in the shape of your life. Click the link below, let's have a chat. I can talk you through exactly how I help people do that. So that's everything. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like it if you did. Subscribe to my channel to follow me on this journey, and I'll see you again soon.